This is a new day. This is a new day full of light, sound, beautiful sound, and expectation. This day has been waiting for you. This day has been waiting especially for you, to guide you, to embrace you with open arms. This is the day that we have been given. Let's not waste it. Let's begin with our opening hymn, number 311, Let It Be a Dance.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you, through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out night. Without dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, share the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Welcome and good morning. We're so happy that you can be with us today, whether it's here in person, on Zoom, Facebook, or later on YouTube. You are welcome. Whether you are gay, straight, bi, pan, lesbian, queer, questioning, unable to be contained in a word, welcome. Here in this space, we are an intentional community gathered around our shared promise to support each other's individual search for truth and meaning. Welcome. What a joy it is to be together. There's a couple of announcements to share with you today. Number one, the LGBTQ committee will be meeting following our service this morning. Join in the discussion and planning for the Trans Day of Remembrance PFLAG meeting on November the 14th and welcoming congregation recertification. Circle suppers and silent supper. I'd ask you now to flip your order of service over and look at the back of it, and you will see they are not the same thing. So they are very different things, and please sign up for both of them. Today, children will remain in the service with us. Younglings and Padawans, I would like for you to come up and receive your bead for the day, as promised. Come on, children. Anybody who came today gets a special bead. You can also help yourself to the activities in the back corner by Jack Skellington back there. Not the guy in the blue jacket, but the one behind him. There, okay. So we are about to make this time and this place sacred by our presence and our intention. Please turn off or silence your cell phones. And as you do so, I invite us to turn down the volume of our fears, remove our masks, and loosen the armor around our hearts. We'll begin with the chalice lighting.
Good morning. My name's Min Rayleigh. When I was a little kid, believe it or not, I was fearless. I was not afraid of monsters under my bed or the dark or scary movies, much. I would run barefoot through the woods with my brother, catching bugs, mice, and garter snakes to bring home and scare my mom and sister. I would go mud bogging and hill climbing with my dad in his rusty old Jeep or truck or tractor, and I would squeal with glee even as all the other kids, the older kids, bailed out because they got scared. I would yell, "Go higher, Dad, go faster." The truth is, it wasn't until I lived a little and learned a lot that I started to become afraid. After I went through abuse and trauma, neglect, disrespect, prejudice, and all sorts of other terrible things personally, after I saw horrible, unspeakable things happen to those I loved, and even atrocities happening to strangers near and far, after I learned of all the vicious things that people do to each other, after I lost person after person to natural causes, to accidents, to trauma, to murder, to suicide, to cancer. After all of this, I became afraid. And the older I got and the more I learned, the more afraid I became. I did become afraid of the dark, and I always slept with the lights on. It wasn't until after Sean and I had been married and sleeping in the same bed for quite a while that I could finally sleep with the lights off, for which he is truly grateful. I did become afraid of monsters under my bed, in my closet, next door, around the world. But these monsters were human ones, not the made-up kind. I'm still not afraid of most critters like mice, bugs, and snakes, and in fact, I own some. They live in my house with me. I am afraid of the super poisonous ones, especially spiders, because my husband and child are deathly allergic. But even with them, I just try to capture them and put them outside to live their life in peace. As an adult, I realized that some of my fears and some of my anxieties were irrational, and I got help with them. Lots and lots of help in the form of meditation and therapy and medication. I would say most of my irrational fears are gone now, or at least seriously subsided. If you've heard me talk before, you know I do still struggle with anxiety, but I work on it every day. My biggest fear still to this day is losing the people that I love, and I don't know that I will ever overcome it. You've heard me talk before about some of the people I have lost. Some hit harder than others, but they all hurt. Some losses took longer to let go, and honestly, I am still actively working on the stages of grief for my brother. I am still actively in grief counseling, and I am not yet able to let go. I'm getting better slowly, and that's all I can do. I think I will always be afraid of losing the people that I love, but the way that I deal with that is by trying to love the people that I have as hard as I can while I still have them. And even when we argue and disagree, I try to make sure they know I love them, to know I love them so much. I'm not always successful, and honestly, especially lately, I've failed a lot. But I will keep trying, and I think that's the best we can do. That's all we can do. We have no control over when people walk into our lives, and sometimes we have no control over when they walk out. The only thing we can do is control how much we love them in the middle, facing the fear of losing them and loving them anyway. We light this chalice today in the name of being afraid and loving them anyway, loving as hard as you can, as long as you can, and knowing it's enough. An irony of all ironies, just as I'm about to light the chalice, the candle went out. Sorry.
Do any of you grown-ups know who Seth Meyers is? Did you know he wrote a children's book? Don't worry, it's okay, it's real clean. So our story for today is going to be told in 3 parts. And it is called, I'm Not Scared, You're Scared, with pictures by Rob Saya Jr., and of course, written by Seth Meyers. There once was a bear who was easily scared. Each night before going to sleep, he would tie a bell to his door that would make a noise if anyone tried to sneak in, because even a bear who is especially scared is a very heavy sleeper. He was even afraid of his own reflection, and because he couldn't see himself, he never brushed well and always had food stuck in his teeth. When you're a scared bear with food in your teeth, you don't have many friends. Bear had one friend, Rabbit. Rabbit was never scared. She read scary stories. She slept with her door wide open. And she brushed her teeth while hanging from a tree branch by her ears. This gave her very strong ears. One day, Rabbit made an announcement. Bear, we are going on an adventure. Bear suggested that instead of going on an adventure, they could read a book about adventures. That way, if anything goes wrong, we can just close the book. Rabbit looked at her friend and asked, Bear, are you scared? And Bear replied, I'm not scared, you're scared. And with that, Bear walked past Rabbit out the front door. So I think I know what Bear feels like. When I was a kid, I was sure scared of a lot of things. But the thing that I remember the most was there was a nightmare. But it was one of those nightmares that you wake up from and you can't remember what it was. And even though I can't remember the details of it, I was so scared that I opened my bedroom door, just a crack, to let some light in from the family room. When my mother came into my room a few minutes later, she asked me what was wrong, and I said, nothing is wrong. Are you scared? She asked. No, I said, in total denial. She then left the room, closing the door behind her. A few minutes later, after she had gone to bed, I got up and opened it again.
Please join me in reading the covenant. It's found in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Each month, our congregation donates all loose cash and unmarked checks put in the offering plate to a nonprofit organization whose mission and actions are consistent with the UU principles and the mission of UUYO. Our Giveaway the Plate recipient for the month of October is YSU Unity? YSU Unity, okay. YSU Unity is a student-run nonprofit organization and is currently Youngstown State University's only LGBTQIA+ organization. YSU Unity mission is to promote awareness of issues related to LGBTQIA+ students, to provide a supportive and welcoming place for all these students and faculty, to create a more welcoming campus for the LGBTQIA+ community through campus activism, education, and events, and to network with other organizations and businesses on and off campus to create a diverse network of support for the benefit of all members of YSU Unity and all of those who wish to take advantage of this network of support. YSU Unity is a safe place for all of Youngstown State University students, professors, and faculty.
So Bear stopped to make sure they had everything that they needed. "Do I need a bike helmet?" Bear asked. "No," said Rabbit. "Do I need oven mitts?" "No," said Rabbit. "Do I need bear repellent spray?" "You're a bear," said Rabbit. After walking a while, they came to a small stream. "It looks deep," said Bear. "It's not deep," said Rabbit. "It looks cold," said Bear. "It's not cold," said Rabbit. "It looks like it's filled with fish who have very sharp teeth, the kind of fish who would like nothing more than to nibble at the ankles of a delicious bear." Rabbit looked at her friend and asked again, "Bear, are you scared?" And Bear replied once again, "I'm not scared, you're scared." And with that, Bear walked along the stream until it narrowed enough that he could step over it. There he found Rabbit, who had fallen asleep, waiting for him. After a bit longer, they came to the edge of the woods. "It looks dark," said Bear. "It's not dark," said Rabbit. "It looks spooky," said Bear. "It's not spooky," said Rabbit. "It looks like it's full of trees that are going to fall down and bonk us on the head." Rabbit looked at her friend and said, "Bear, are you scared?" And Bear replied, "I'm not scared, you're scared." And with that, Bear, realizing he would do anything to avoid the dark and spooky woods, walked to the road where he waited for the bus. The bus picked him up and drove him all the way around the forest. When he got to the other side, he woke up Rabbit, who once again had fallen asleep waiting for him. They walked some more until they came to a mountain. "It looks high," said Bear. "It's not high," said Rabbit. "It looks slippery," said Bear. "It's not slippery," said Rabbit. "It looks like one of the rocks will fall and roll and land on my paw," said Bear. Rabbit looked at her friend and just had to ask, "Bear, are you scared?" And Bear replied, "I'm not scared, you're scared." And with that, Bear, realizing he would do anything to avoid the high and slippery mountain, walked to the nearest train station. The train took him halfway around the mountain to an airfield. At the airfield, Bear bought a ticket on a helicopter that flew him to the top of the mountain and dropped him off next to Rabbit. who, no surprise here, had fallen asleep. "Rabbit," said Bear, waking her up, "should we go home?" "I am not going home," said Rabbit, and she bounced off with Bear following behind her. After a bit more walking, they found themselves at one side of a long rope bridge. Bear stopped. "It looks rickety," said Bear. "It might be a little rickety," said Rabbit. "It looks old," said Bear. "It might be pretty old," said Rabbit. "It looks like the boards might break if you were heavy enough," said Bear. Agreed Rabbit. Rabbit looked at her friend and said, "Bear, are you scared?" And Bear took a deep breath and said, "Yes, yes, Rabbit, I am scared. I was scared of the river, I was scared of the forest, I was scared of the mountain, but I'm the most scared about this long, old, rickety bridge." And with that, Bear turned around and headed home. He marched back to the helicopter that flew him back to the airfield. Then he took the train back to the forest, where he got on a bus that took him to the river so he could cross where it was narrow, and then trudge all the way back to his house, where he crawled in bed. Rabbit went to the middle of the bridge and thought, "See, this bridge isn't dangerous. It's a good bridge." And to prove that, she started jumping up and down. And then she jumped harder, and then she jumped harder, and then she jumped harder than she had ever jumped in her life. And then the board she was jumping on cracked in half, and Rabbit fell right through the hole in the bridge. Lucky for Rabbit, she had very strong ears, but she knew she wouldn't be able to hold on forever. And because of this, Rabbit, for the first time in her life, was scared. As I got older, there were so much more things to be scared of. For instance, becoming an adult with responsibilities, someone other than myself to take care of. What if I made a mistake? What if I did not know how to take care of a baby? What if she cried? And she did, and so did I. Until eventually, I started to overcome one of my other adult fears, which was talking to people. Can you believe that? I began to ask for help from other moms, from nurses, from family. Yes, I admitted I was scared, and things got better. After that, I had 2 more someones to take care of.
In your order of service, there's a responsive reading. You, the congregation, are going to read the regular. They read the bowl?
They're reading the bowl.
They're reading. Okay, scratch that. I'm reading the bowl. You're reading. No, they're reading the bowl. I'm going to get it right, I swear. I'm reading the regular. You're reading the bold. Let's see if we can do this. Responsive reading, Let Me Die Laughing by Morrison Reed. We are all dying. Our lives are always moving towards completion. Death is not the worst of all events. We need to fear not death, but life, empty lives, loveless lives. Lives that do not build upon the gifts the giver has given. Lives that are like living deaths. Lives which we never take the time to savor and appreciate. Lives in which we never pause to breathe deeply. Fear is not death, but squandering the lives that we have been generously given. So let me die laughing, savoring one of life's crazy moments. Let me die holding the hand of the one I love and recalling that I tried to love and was loved in return. Let me die remembering that life has been good and that I did what I could. And remind me that I am dying, savor and love with all my heart.
Everybody remember where we left Rabbit? Oh, wait, hold on, we're doing special music first. Eric was just looking at me. Now, Bear and Rabbit hadn't noticed, but the whole time that they were on their adventure, they had been accompanied by a little bird. Bird realized that she had to get help, so she flew as fast as she could all the way to Bear's house. Bird flew in Bear's window and started chirping as loud as she could. But Bear didn't wake up, because even bears who are easily scared are very heavy sleepers. Bird was about to give up when she saw the bell on the doorknob. Bird put her head inside it and shook it as hard as she could. Bear jumped out of bed to hear Bird yell, "Rabbit has fallen through the bridge and needs your help." And in that moment, Bear felt something he had never felt before: courage. He was so worried about his friend that instead of staying home where it was safe, he ran out the door faster than any bear had ever run before. When Bear reached the stream, he ran right through it. When he came to the forest, he ran right through it. It was only 3 trees. And when he came to the mountain, he didn't even think about taking a train. Look how little that mountain is. I think he made a mountain out of a molehill. When he came to the mountain, he didn't even think about taking a train and a helicopter. He just climbed right up. It wasn't very high. Meanwhile, Rabbit was now hanging on with only one ear. She could feel it slipping, too. And just as she lost her grip, Bear grabbed her by the ear and lifted her to safety. "Bear, were you scared?" asked Rabbit. And Bear said with pride and honesty, "Rabbit, I was scared." "I was scared too," said Rabbit. And Bear smiled and said, "Sometimes it's okay to be scared." That night when Bear brushed his teeth, he didn't hide from his reflection. He looked right at it. And do you know what he saw? A very brave bear with no food in his teeth. The end. Now, I am much older, and my only fear is dying. But it's not death itself that scares me. What scares me is not finishing everything that I want to do with my life, not making a difference in my grandchild's life, not helping others enough. Maya Angelou calls this a fear of living. It's being preeminently afraid of dying. It is not doing what you came here to do out of timidity and spinelessness. The antidote is to take full responsibility for yourself, for the time you take up and the space you occupy. If you don't know what you're here to do, then just do some good. I am currently taking a course through Meadville Lombard titled Beloved Conversations. This is a program for people seeking to embody racial justice as a spiritual practice. It's a program for personal learning, reflection, building of relationships and community, and deepening our commitments. I was having a difficult time getting through the material, partly due to life, scheduling, work, etc., but mostly from fear. Fear that I might not like what I learn in this course about myself, about my family, my fellow human beings. Fear that I would say something wrong. Fear that I would be called out as a racist. Sonia Renee Taylor says that it is best just to say, "Of course I'm a racist. It's my native language. It's all I knew. Society is full of it. Everyone here is a racist. It's like a language. It's all you knew how to speak. But myself and everyone else here, I know, is learning a new language." Doing this work, even though it is tough, means I am trying to learn a new language. So, the title of our service today was something about overcoming fears. So I have come up with 5 strategies for myself that I have been using, especially through this coursework that I'm doing. So the first way to move past my fears is to name them and face them, which I just did. I've always feared high places. It was difficult to overcome that fear, and the only way was to actually gain altitude. Climb the ladder, look out the window from a very tall building, ride the roller coaster. I actually ended up loving roller coasters because I was securely fastened in, unlike climbing a ladder. One time, over in California, I got on a roller coaster that went upside down. I liked how it started up really, really fast, and it shot the riders up to the top of the circle. Unfortunately, when I rode it, my car got stuck at the top, upside down. For 45 minutes, we all just hung there, securely strapped in. We were eventually rescued by the fire department and some search and rescue people who cut the straps holding us in, caught us, and walked us down 1,000,000 steps. That definitely was my worst fear. So, the second strategy is to face the fear. I still love roller coasters. Summer has faded now, and these final days of October mark the beginning of the coming of winter. The frost has taken our tender plants. Leaves are falling faster from the trees. Geese have begun to leave us for the warmer temperatures of the south. The days are cooler, the weather is unsettled, and the evenings are suddenly dark. If we were members of a traditional Mexican family, we would soon be going to have a picnic on the graves of our family members, celebrating, remembering, and honoring. Many of us are very far from our grave sites of our ancestors, but we can still honor those who have gone before us, and we'll do that after the interlude by inviting anyone who wishes to come forward and speak the name of a loved one that was lost in the past year since last October, and light a candle for our own beloved dead. When you do come up to light a candle, please begin at the back of the table. Stand in front of the table, but begin lighting from the back and go forward so people don't get burned. Please also line up on the side aisles and then return to your seat through the middle aisle. So we are going to have a moment of silence so that you can center yourselves.
At this darkening time of year, our thoughts turn to things past, to life retreating, to those who are no longer with us. Images come to our mind of dear companion who once graced our lives, loved ones who we miss, persons who made an impact on our lives, of all of those who were here contributing, caring, and are now gone. Memories bring both joy and sadness. Let us not push those feelings away. For recollections attest to the enduring importance of these friends, this love, our memories. May these brave and lovely spirits live again in our tender thoughts and prove that death and distance are powerless to sever the bonds that truly connect loving hearts.
I like to keep busy when I'm studying in the meetings or watching the videos in my class. I bead or sort beads as needed. I sometimes color. I sometimes even walk around. The leaders of the program say this is a great way to let the conversation of learning still take place when we are uncomfortable or scared. So the third strategy for moving past my fears is just to move. Just get up and move around. And I journal sometimes. Journaling helps me to remember all of the times I have faced similar situations in the past and have made it through. It reminds me also that I have endured worse fears and overcome them. So the fourth strategy is journaling. I finished writing my message for this service after spending about 3 hours at Wick Park for Trail of Treats with about 900 kids, while wearing the hottest costume ever invented. I talked, played, danced, and just had a great time as the Grinch. Just making all those people smile was fantastic. So I think that my fifth strategy for moving past my fears is to just try to have fun with my life. Now, I know what is going on in the world, and it's all very scary. Terrorism, wars, sickness, awful stuff. But it's not really anything new, is it? And nobody wants to go through those things. It's sad. People die. Pets die. Everyone dies at some point. But I want to be one of those people that after I'm gone, everyone says, "Boy, she sure was a lot of fun." So I'm going to move down here. So now I am going to remind everyone of the members of this community who have died within the year. Some of these members had moved away, and maybe many of you didn't know them, but it is very important that we honor the people who came before us, because they are the ones who have the history of this congregation. So I'm going to start off with Luna Jacob. It's okay. And then Gloria Jones. Norma Coe Anderson. And everyone probably remembers Achilles. Okay. Now's the time that you will be moving to the side aisles and coming up to light a candle for any loved ones who have passed away in the past year. I'm going to start with one for me, and you can speak the name into this microphone. Just move it away from the flame there. My dog, Fifi. Go ahead, come on up. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
My friend Dakota. My Aunt Sandy and my Uncle Lawrence.
Phil LaMonica.
So now we're going to pause.
Marie.
We're going to pause and we're going to sing the first verse of When I Am Frightened, hymn number 1012.
When I am frightened, will you give me for me? When I'm uncertain, will you hold my hand? Will you be strong for me, sing to me quietly? Will you share some of your stories with me? If you will show me compassion, then I may learn to care as you do, then I may learn to care.
Robbie Simonero, my sister Paula's husband and brother of my brother-in-law, and Paul Simonero, brother of my brother-in-law, Neil Simonero.
Al Pedaway.
Linda Palumbo.
Second verse. When I am angry, will you still embrace me? When I am thoughtless, will you understand? Will you believe in me? Stand by me willingly? Will you share some of your questions with me? If you will show me acceptance, then I may learn to give as you do. Then I may learn to give.
Keith Moan.
Achilles Palumbo.
My cousin, Evie Lauer.
A person who brought light to my life for many years.
Shisha.
That was her cat.
My stepfather, Edmund Kalinowski.
Third verse. When I am troubled, you listen to me. When I am lonely, will you be my friend? Will you be there for me, comfort me tenderly? Will you share some of your feelings with me? If you will show me commitment, then I may learn to love as you do. Then I may learn to love.
Spirit of life, hold us as we remember those we have loved and those who have loved us. May our gratitude sparkle in our lives. May our tears water our soul. Help us to know that we are not alone in our grieving and to come to that peaceful place in which we can take what we learned from those who have gone before us into our own lives. Remind us that we too are mortal and that the only enduring legacy we leave is the love that shines through our lives. Amen. We extinguish this flame, but not its meaning and mission in our hearts. Our time together has come to an end. Go in peace, be of service to one another, and may you move through the world in love for all of your days.
May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in and among us, now and always.